Hey guys, all right, today I have a full body stretch workout on the Reformer. Okay, I haven't done one of these in a while. We do have another active recovery and stretch video up on the YouTube channel, but this one's gonna be a little bit different. This one is purely stretch today, okay? So there's gonna be moments where your heart rate's gonna get up a little bit just because of holding a stretch, okay? And I want you to feel that in your body. I want you to feel the re-lengthening of the muscles. But overall, we're gonna hit a little bit of everything, so it's gonna be a great full body stretch workout, okay? We're gonna look at about 60 minutes, okay? Head to toe, a little bit of everything, a little bit more legs than anything else, okay? But hopefully you'll feel pretty good and pretty loose after this workout. You're gonna set yourself up for a really strong, powerful week ahead, okay? So all you need for this workout is your Reformer box. We're gonna have that up on the Reformer to start. So you want it short box style, up against those shoulder blocks. Make sure your headrest is down. Okay, you're not gonna need that up at all during this workout. Your yoga block, you have a yoga block. This is optional. So if you have an Allegro 2, your foot bar comes a little bit lower to the ground. And for the stretch that I'm gonna be using the yoga block for, your foot bar, if you're on an Allegro 2, might work just fine. But have a yoga block out if you have one. It might be handy, okay? I have a squishy pad on my platform just for a little extra comfort. So if you have a rough platform, that's kind of a nice thing. My foot bar is in the first position, but I want you to make sure that it's out of the way of the platform. Okay, so not all the way down, but just enough forward that you can sit on the platform. Okay, because we are gonna need it multiple times, the foot bar, and I wanna make sure that it's in the right position so that you can move through each movement easily and fluidly. Okay, I have my machine set on one extra light spring, which is one yellow on a balanced body Reformer. That is not something that my Reformer came with. I had to replace one of my heavy springs with that spring. Okay, so if you don't have an extra light spring, please work on a light, which is one blue. If you're on another brand of Reformer, a white is an extra light on some of them. Just one spring is also an option, but you want it to be pretty light so the carriage moves easily. All right, we're gonna get started. All right, so we're actually gonna start standing up on the platform, okay? And I know what you're thinking already. You're like, doesn't sound like stretching. Okay, it is, I promise. Okay, so this is much of a stretch workout as it is mobility. Okay, so we're gonna start with a walkout. So I want you to make sure that your legs are in parallel, toes shining towards the carriage, and your legs are just underneath those hips. Okay, from here, we're gonna inhale those arms up and overhead, finding nice long length. And on your exhale, you're gonna nod your chin to your chest. My knees are gonna bend softly. And I'm going to bring my hands all the way down to the carriage. Now, if that is too far for you and it feels like too much of a strain, you can bring your hands to the box. We're going to walk that carriage or send that carriage all the way out to a nice long plank, keeping those shoulders under the wrists. Okay, and once you've connected to that plank and you're breathing into that back body, we're going to pull that carriage all the way back in, letting those knees bend softly. Okay, we're going to roll all the way back up to standing, articulating through the spine. My knees are going to stay soft the whole time. Good. Exhale, nod the chin, round the spine, curling, rolling all the way down. Knees are bending softly. Hands come to the carriage. I'm going to send that carriage all the way out to a nice long plank, connecting into my back body. Wrists are under my shoulders. I'm breathing into that rib cage. Spiraling those biceps forward, I bring that carriage up and back with my low belly. It should move nice and easily. Knees stay soft. We're going to round and stack that spine one vertebrae at a time. Inhale those arms up and overhead. We're going to go 2 more times. Exhale, nod that chin. So you're going to see me work in series of 4 today so that we can really get deep into that stretch. Hopefully every time you work through a movement, okay, it gets a little bit easier, or you feel a little bit more release through the body and all that tension starts to go away. Good. Inhaling all the way up, rolling, stacking the vertebrae. Last time, we're going to inhale those arms up and overhead. Exhale, nod the chin, round the spine, drawing the belly button up and in. Hands come to the carriage. Send that carriage all the way out to a nice long plank, breathing into the back body. Holding it there, spiraling those biceps forward so that we're in the back and not just in the shoulder. And then we're going to draw that carriage all the way up and back. Heels are going to lower a bit, knees are going to soften, and we're going to inhale as we stack that spine all the way up, arms overhead one more time. All right, bring those arms down. Now, we are going to be straddling the reformer. So nice and carefully, I want you to come on down to the floor. Your left leg, we're going to face the rear. Left leg on one side, right leg on the other. Now, I have a nice long carriage. I have room to sit down in front of my box. If you're on an Allegro 2 or anything else, you may not have that space, but it doesn't matter. We're going to be hovering anyway. So I want you to hover that booty off the carriage. My knees, I'm in a very wide plie. Knees are tracking with big toe, second toe, inner thighs are nice and open. Okay, from here, my hands are going to come to the box. I'm going to spread those fingertips out nice and wide. And from here, I'm going to hinge forward, sending those arms long. I'm going to bring the heels of my hand to the edge of the box. And I'm going to take it all the way out to a nice flat back hinge. Opening up the underarm, lifting those ribs or reaching those ribs out of the pelvis. Crown of the head reaching far away from that tailbone. And then we're going to come all the way back up to a nice straight spine. Good. Exhale, folding forward, reaching those arms, pressing that box out. I'm folding at that seat crease, right where the hips meet the leg. I'm folding right there for a nice flat back hinge. Holding there for a beat. Relaxing the toes if they're gripping on the floor. Coming all the way back up. We're going to go 2 more like that. So 4 times through this movement. Good. Lengthening out, reaching forward, sending that carriage out. I'm looking down at the springs. My head falls between, or my ears fall between my biceps. Hold it there, reaching out of that shoulder. Breathing in this movement. Good, and coming all the way. That breath is going to help you start to release that tension through the body. Good. We're going to go 1 more time, and we're going to hold it a little longer this time. So you should feel those legs a little bit, right? We're hinging down, reaching those arms forward. Hold it right there. Breathing into this movement. Now from here, we're going to soften the elbows. So the elbows are going to bend 1 inch and back out. Bending the elbows and send it back out. Good, so finding a little bit more mobility through the shoulders, through those arms. Hold it here, still pulling that belly button up and in my core is active. Good, we're here for 4. Last 3. Good, we've got 2. And last 1. Sending those arms all the way out nice and straight, and we're going to fold all the way back up to that standing position. And then if you have room to sit down, go ahead and sit down. If not, we're going to come out of this anyway. So what's going to happen is our hands are going to come back here to the foot bar. Okay, once you've got your hands on the foot bar and they're about shoulder width apart, you're going to bring your feet onto the carriage. Okay, so we're in a little bit of a modified chair, seated chair position or crab position, okay? Chest is tall, okay, and I'm hovering right over that foot bar. I've got my thumbs tracking right behind my body, okay, and the fingertips are wrapping towards the inside of the foot bar. Now from here, I'm keeping those knees straight off my hips. I'm going to send my legs out nice and long, keeping the feet fully connected to the carriage. And from here, I'm going to open up my front body and gently look at the ceiling, getting more mobility through the shoulder and a nice stretch right there, opening up that front body. Exhale. Let the hips come back. If you need to bend your knees, okay, for support, go ahead and do that. But if you can keep them straight, keep them straight. And then we're going to come back out, opening up the shoulder, reaching, keeping those shoulders over those wrists, looking up at the ceiling nice and gently, and coming all the way back. We won't be here long, okay? Right from here, if you need to bend the knees, go ahead and bend them and reset. Sending that carriage all the way out, keeping my toes connected, reaching and opening that front body on an inhale. Exhale, bringing those hips back under the shoulders. And 1 more time, we're going to send it all the way out and hold and breathe. Looking gently at the ceiling, lengthening out that neck. Hold right there. Finding a little bit more mobility through the shoulder for 4. Last 3. Last 2. And bringing it all the way in, allowing those knees to bend and coming all the way down. Now, straddling the reformer again. You're going to sit on the platform this time. So this is why I wanted you to make sure that that foot bar was a little bit forward so that you had space to sit down. Okay, From here, your hands are going to come to the carriage, and we're going to find that hinge forward again. So keeping the toes in a turned out position, heels of the hands on the edge of the carriage, fingertips nice and wide. We're going to exhale as we reach that carriage all the way out, finding length out of the spine, holding it there, reaching the ribs out of the pelvis, arms or the shoulders and arms out of the ribs, holding it there, breathing. Inhale, lengthen a little more. Exhale, come all the way back up. Sitting nice and tall, right on top of those sitting bones. We're going to go again, pressing that carriage all the way out, folding from that seat crease, flat back, staying right there. Hold, breathe. Every inhale, I want you to get a little longer, reach the carriage a little more, bringing it all the way back up. You should feel a stretch through the inner thighs quite a bit. On our next one, we're going to send it out with that flat back. And we're going to hold and we're going to find some flexion. So you're going to hold it out there. And from here, we're going to exhale, nod the chin and round the spine. Don't come all the way up, just round. And then we're going to inhale as we release back to a flat back. Exhale, nod the chin, round the spine, pull the middle of that thoracic spine up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to inhale as we send the carriage back out to a flat back. Let's go 2 more like that. Exhale. Inhale, reach it out 1 more time. Exhale. Inhale, reach it all the way out. And then we're going to bring it all the way back in. Now holding it right here in that seated position, we're going to take the right arm and we're going to bring it over to the left side of the carriage. Now my left hand is going to be on the box, and I have plenty of room to reach my arm, but you might want to send that box out a little bit towards the rear of the machine so that you can lay your shoulder down on the carriage. Okay, if you can get your shoulder closer to the carriage, you're going to feel a deeper spinal twist right here and a nice stretch through that shoulder as well. Hold it there. Inner thighs are still stretching in this nice wide turned out position. Good, and then we're going to bring it all the way back in. We're going to take the right heel of the hand to the box. That left hand is going to lace through that window on the right now. And I'm trying to get that shoulder down towards the springs. Nice little spinal twist right here. Good. Take a couple big breaths in these positions, and that's going to help you loosen up even more. Left heel of the hand to the box, lacing that right arm through the window on the left, trying to get that shoulder down 1 more time on that right side. Good. Finding that release through the side body. Bringing that all the way back in, and we're going to go 1 more time, lacing that left arm through the window on the right. Palm is facing up, trying to lay that shoulder down. And breathing at the same time. And now we're going to bring it all the way back in. All right, we're going to come into a rear-facing lunge. So we're going to stand up. Knees can be on the carriage to get started. Keeping that box exactly where it is. We're staying on that extra light spring. Your left toes are going to be on the platform. Your right foot is going to be nice and flat in front of the box on the carriage. Palms on the box. Okay? So go ahead and stand up to 2 straight legs. We've got the heel of the left foot lifted. Right foot is nice and flat. Palms are on the box for support. Okay, we're going to allow that right knee to bend, and we're going to send that carriage forward into a nice deep lunge. Now, in this position, you're going to let the front of the left hip open up. Okay, so really find that little dip right there. Opening up the hips. Lengthening out of that left psoas. We're going to get a little deeper into that. Now, as you pull back up to 2 straight legs, okay, we're going to come into a straight right leg and a straight left leg. You're going to let that left heel dip down past the platform. So I'm getting a nice calf stretch on the back of that left leg. Pick up that heel and come back into that forward lunge. Good. Right knee tracking right between big toe, second toe, and my knee is behind those toes, which is kind of nice to have the box there. Kind of keeps you a little bit more in alignment. Coming all the way up to 2 straight legs, letting that left heel dip down past the platform, getting a nice big calf stretch, forcing that left foot into more dorsiflexion, picking up that left heel, coming right into a nice lunge, opening up the front of that left hip. Good. Coming all the way back up to 2 straight legs. Sending that left heel down past the platform, holding it there for a beat, feeling that calf stretch, keeping the back of the knee open. Now on our next one, we're going to pick up that left heel, come into that lunge, and we're going to hold that lunge. Now, keeping the right palm on the box, you're going to take the left palm up and overhead. So we're opening up the left front of the body a little bit more, stretching through that psoas. My left palm is in a ninja palm, palm facing in towards the middle of my body, and I'm gently looking up at the ceiling. Hold it there for 4. Last 3. Last 2. Bring that left hand back to the box. We're going to come all the way back up. Okay, and in this position with 2 straight legs, we're going to let that left heel dip down, and we're going to hold that left heel down there past the platform. Now, keeping the heel down, we're going to soften the left knee and extend the back of the left knee. Soften and extend. So it's a micro bend through the back of that left knee. If your foot bar is in the way, take a minute to go ahead and move that. Okay, but if you can work with it in this position, the back of my left leg is hitting the foot bar. Okay, but I'm still able to find that little micro bend and extend. This is where you might feel a little shake come on. All that connective tissue starts to fire. Good, last 4. Good, you've got 3. Last 2, really opening up the back of that left knee. That bend is smaller than you think. Last 1. And then we're going to come all the way down to our knees. All right. From here, we're going to turn, okay, and I'm going to face you. So my right knee, okay, is on the carriage, and my left foot is going to be on the platform. Okay. Now from here, we're going to pick up to our right foot. So right foot will be on the box or be on the carriage next to the box, left foot still on the platform. Okay, we can start with 2 straight legs, carriage in. Now, if you want to start standing, you can, but that box is going to be your support. So what's going to happen is we're going to come into a side lunge. Right knee is going to bend, bringing my right forearm down to the box, okay, or right hand, wherever you're comfortable, and my left hand is going to come to the inside edge of the carriage. Okay, holding that nice deep side lunge, right knee tracking with big toe, second toe. I'm reaching my right hip back. I'm going to pull the carriage in to 2 straight legs, getting a nice deep forward fold. Okay, left leg stays straight. The one on the platform doesn't change. My right knee bends, sending myself into a side lunge. Hold it there. Breathe in this position. Feeling a big stretch on that left inner thigh. And then we're bringing it all the way up to 2 straight legs. Big stretch down the back side of those legs. Back into that side lunge. So getting lots of mobility through that right hip as well. Good, and then pulling all the way back up to 2 straight legs. Lengthening out through those hamstrings. Good, and then one more time into that lunge. Good, hold it there. And then pulling all the way up to those 2 straight legs. Carriage kisses the bumper. Now from here, we're going to take our hands to the frame of the reformer if you can reach. Okay, what's going to happen is you will be able to reach because what's going to happen is you're going to open up your inner thighs into a center split. Okay, now the box and the carriage is going to stop. Okay, so even if you're good right here, stay right here. Okay, but if you can go all the way out, your box and your carriage are going to stop at the back of that reformer. Take it as far as you feel comfortable. Okay, that forward fold towards the floor is going to help that stretch, that inner thigh stretch on both legs. So if you can bring your hands to the floor and find that stretch, go for it. Okay, if you're comfortable at the frame, stay there. We're going to walk those hands all the way back towards the foot bar, pulling both inner thighs in, okay? And then we're going to walk those hands back out, right back to that center split. Okay, finding your full range of motion, holding it there, If your hands come to the floor, great, fantastic, wherever you feel comfortable. Try to keep both feet flat so you're getting nice mobility through the ankle. Good, holding it there and breathing. Let's walk those hands all the way back up. And we're all done with that one. Now, we're going to take the right knee back to the carriage. Okay, so my right knee is going to be up against that box. We're going to stretch those inner thighs, but on both sides this time. So my left foot's going to stay flat on the platform, toes pointing forward so my foot is parallel. We're going to keep the right knee under the hip to start, and we're going to lengthen out that left leg. Once you've got that left leg fully straight, you're going to also open up that right inner thigh, okay? So you might feel an even deeper stretch here on that left inner thigh than you did even on that center split. My left hand is going to come to the frame for a little extra support, and I've got both inner thighs opening up right here. Torso is tilting forward. Hold it right there. That box is there for your support. You're here for 4. Last 3. Last 2. Good. Bend that left knee. Bring it all the way in. Give yourself a little relief there. Okay, we're going to go again. Opening up that left leg first all the way, and then opening up that right inner thigh if you feel comfortable there and want a deeper stretch. Hold it right there for 4. Last 3. Last 2. Good, coming all the way back in with that right knee, bending that left knee. Now staying here with the right leg. Right leg is not going to change, the one against the box. Your left leg is. So you're going to rotate that left foot so it's now perpendicular to the platform. My left heel is down, my left toes up. Okay, so we're going to want that foot in a flexed position. I'm going to lengthen out my left leg, but I'm also going to grab onto the foot bar. So again, I've got my inner thigh facing the foot bar on that right leg. My knee is pointed out to the right. My left foot is in a flexed position, heel down, toes up. And I've got my left leg nice and straight. So again, working on some hip mobility here and also a big stretch down the back of that left leg. I'm going to push with my left palm and pull with my right palm. Okay, so I'm getting a nice big stretch right here out of that right waistline, out of that right inner thigh, and the back of that left leg, that left hamstring. Keep your foot flexed on that left foot. Hold it there for 4. Last 3. Last 2. Let's bend that left knee. Give it a little moment. We're going to take it again. Okay, so you're going to lengthen out that left leg. Open up the back of the left knee. Foot is in a flexed position. Toes shining up towards the foot bar. I'm going to push with my left hand and pull with my right hand. And I'm getting a nice stretch right there to the back of that left leg. Reaching my left sits bone for the box. Okay, so I'm getting lots of length. Last 4 and 3. Last 2. And bend that knee and bring it all the way in. Okay, that was a big stretch on that one. Now, we're going to stand up for elephant, but before you do that, I want you to add a red on. So add a heavy. You have your extra light and now a heavy as well. If you were working on one light spring, maybe switch it to just a heavy and see how that feels, or an extra heavy, that green spring. Okay, and then we're going to stand up on the carriage. Okay, so both feet underneath the hips on the carriage, hands on the foot bar. Okay, now from this position, you want to make sure that your shoulders are back away from my wrists. Okay, so I'm not here. I'm not over the foot bar with my chest, my shoulders over my wrists. I'm back here where my calves are connected to the box, and I've got the heel of my foot under my hip. Okay, so I want to feel the back of my legs here. That's what's going to be stretching. Palms, shoulder width distance on the foot bar. Okay, now from here, I'm going to keep my shoulders back from my wrists, and I'm going to let my legs push the carriage out, or my heels push the box out, keeping my heels and toes connected to the carriage. I'm going to feel a stretch through my calf. Okay, nice long length through the back of that leg. Those legs are going to be like a pendulum now, because we're going to let those heels travel back under my hips. Okay, arms don't change position at all. Once those heels are back under your hips, you're going to feel those hamstrings even more than the calf. Okay, from here, same thing. Legs are a pendulum. Heels swing out behind the body, lengthening out the back of the leg, keeping the heel down, feeling that calf stretch. And then letting the heels travel back under the body. Notice my upper body is not changing at all. I'm looking at the springs. Okay, the more you can get the heels back under the body, keeping those knees open, okay, you're going to feel that hamstring. Nice sincere stretch right there. Good. Let's swing those heels out. Lengthening out through the calf. This is an inhale. And breathing in that position. Holding it there. Deepening that stretch and that length through the muscle. And then we're going to swing those heels back under the hips, finding that deep stretch through the hamstring. One more time. Let's swing those heels out. Good. Keeping the heels, the toes connected. Upper body is not changing position. I'm getting that big calf stretch. Notice my head is looking at the springs. I'm not trying to look up in front of me. Bringing those heels right back under the hips. Now, from here, we're going to take the right heel and we're going to lift it up so it's up against the box now. My right toes are down and my heel is up against the box. My left foot has not changed at all. That left foot is still nice and flat on the carriage. We're going to do the same movement. We're going to let that left heel swing back past the body. Okay, lengthening out. So that right leg is getting relief now. Left leg is stretching. Okay, we're loading that left side. Even bigger stretch through that left calf. Good, letting the heel swing back under the body. Lengthening out through the back of the leg. One more time, sending it all the way back, loading that left side for a little deeper stretch. Hold that pause right there. And bringing it all the way back. Good, now we're going to switch legs. Right heel comes down. Left heel's lifted against the box, left toes connected, left heel up. That left leg's going to get a little relief as we send that right heel back towards the rear. Okay, that box is giving us some guidance, a place to really kind of press against and get nice and deep through that stretch. I like that because the foot can't slip here. And then we're going to swing that heel back under the body. Good. Carriage kisses the bumpers. Okay, and then we're going to send that right heel back out one more time, finding that length through the right calf, holding it there, finding that pause, that breath, releasing the grip, lengthening the muscle. And then we're going to bring that leg all the way back in under the hip. Now, both heels down on the carriage the way we started. And we're going to reach the hips back for the reformer box and pull off of that foot bar. So I'm in a nice deep squat or chair type position and I'm pulling off the foot bar. So I'm getting a nice stretch out of the shoulder and the back body. Come on up to two straight legs. Good. I'm going to shift my weight over the foot bar just for a little relief for a second. And now I'm going to pull back again on that foot bar, reaching my hips for the rear of the machine. Not much work through the legs here. I'm giving them relief because I've got a lot of support from that foot bar. And then we're going to come all the way up. Now, before we move on, your knees are going to come to the box, okay? So knees are going to be hip width distance on top of that reformer box. Now, from here, we're going to be opening up the front body, so a swan-like position, but I want you to do this with control. My knees are very close to the front edge of that box so that I can open up my hips. I'm going to open up the front of my hips, both hips open up, okay, and I'm going to let my head gently look up at the ceiling, sending my shoulders down my back body, okay? I'm not letting them creep up to my ears. There's some work here, but I'm opening up that anterior core as well. Exhale, reach those hips back for the rear of the machine. Again, nice little child's pose. Good, come on back. Same thing. Okay, my shoulders are still away from my wrists a bit. I'm gently looking up at the ceiling, letting my anterior core, the front of my core, open up. Good, and then bringing it all the way back. Now, careful with the low back here. If that feels like it's hurting your low back because we are shortening it a bit, don't go as shallow or don't go as deep. Take it a little more shallow. Good, opening up that front body, gently opening up the hips. Shoulders are down the back body, so I've got some lift out of that shoulder girdle. And bringing those hips all the way back. We're going to go one more time. One more time here. Good, coming all the way back. Wrists on the foot bar. Opening up the front body, actively sending my shoulder blades down the back body. And then bring it all the way back. Whoo, to that child's pose. Found some heat on that one. All right, we're going to do that inner thigh stretch on the other side, the kneeling part of it, okay? So we're going to come on down before we switch our springs. Left knee on the carriage, right foot on the platform. I'm going to reach down and take off my heavy spring so I'm back to that extra light spring. Okay, and do what you need to do with your springs if you don't have that option, okay? I want you to work where you did on the other side. All right, right from here, left hand is on the box. We're going to lengthen out that right leg all the way, okay, to a straight right leg. Once that leg is open, I'm going to let my torso tip a little bit, and I'm going to let that left inner thigh open as well. Right hand came to the frame, so I can still get that chest to dip forward. That's going to intensify the stretch on the inner thigh. So both inner thighs are opening into a modified center split. Hold and breathe it there. Now we're going to bring that left knee back under the hip and come all the way back up. You can bend that right leg. Okay, extend that right knee open. Lengthen out that left inner thigh as well. So both inner thighs get a nice big stretch right here. Hold and breathe. That box is there for your support. Good, bending that right knee, coming all the way back in with that left leg as well. Let's go again, sending it all the way out to a straight right leg, then opening up that left knee as well. So both inner thighs get a nice big stretch. Much deeper on that straight leg. Of course, try to keep your right foot down so we get the mobility and the stretch through the ankle as well. Good, we're going to pull that left knee in, come all the way back up. Now, my right foot is going to change position. Left leg is going to stay exactly how it is, but my right foot is going to turn and face the foot bar. My right heel down, my right toes up, okay? Now from here, I'm going to straighten out my right leg, and I'm going to reach forward for my foot bar. So I'm getting a nice big stretch now through the back of the right leg. I'm going to push with my right hand and pull with my left hand. And that's going to intensify the stretch out of my left waistline. Okay, big stretch through my right hamstring, my right calf. I'm keeping my foot flexed. Okay, I want to feel all the way up to my hamstring. Good. Left inner thigh. If you want to open up that left leg a little bit, that's going to take away some of your support. So I like to keep my left knee under my hip. Hold it there. Pushing with my right, pulling with my left. 4, 3, last 2. Let's bend that right knee and bring that chest up a little bit. We're going to go again. Okay, straighten out that right leg. Open up the back of the right knee. Keep the foot flexed, toes up. Pushing with my right palm, pulling with my left palm. Big stretch out of my left waistline. This side feels a lot more intense for me. So must have been tight. Must have been pretty tight on that left side. Hold it right there for 4. One side is usually going to feel different. Okay, we're not all perfectly symmetrical. Most of us are not anyway. And one side does usually overcompensate for a weakness on the other side or an imbalance. Okay, so this stretching is really good to kind of wake up the body and make you aware of where those imbalances might be present. And we can kind of work through them. Hold it here for 4. Last 3 and 2. Bend that right knee, and bring that chest up. Okay, bringing that right leg back to parallel, all right? We're now going to take that left foot onto the carriage. Okay, so nice and carefully, we're going to start with 2 straight legs. Now, from here, my legs are starting to tremble now from all this stretching. Left hand on the box, okay? Right hand on the edge of the carriage if you can get it there. From here. My left knee is going to bend. I'm going to come into a side lunge. Right leg straight, left kneecap tracking with big toe, second toe on that left foot. Hold that right there. Okay, then when you come in, we're going to pull the 2 straight legs, okay? And that forward fold is going to give you a nice big stretch down the backside of both of your legs. Once again, letting that left knee bend, coming into that side lunge. My right leg now needs to stay straight. I get that inner thigh stretch on that right side, lots of mobility on the left hip. And then I pull back into 2 straight legs, opening up the back of the left knee. Good. Again, taking it out to that side lunge. So we're stretching, but it's also a lot of mobility work, okay? So you are getting a lot of movement here. That ankle or that right foot stays nice and flat on the platform. Pull it all the way back up. And let's go one more time, taking it out to that side lunge. Opening up that right inner thigh. Whew, hold and breathe. And then pulling it all the way back in. Now we've got that center split, and we're going to take it on this side as well. Okay, now hands are going to come to the frame. All right, got my necklace in the way. Okay, here we go. Hands on the frame. We're going to open up those inner thighs. Okay, so we're going to walk the hands down the frame, and you're going to find your full range of motion. Now for me, the carriage hits the rear, okay, especially with that box there, and I'm not able to really open up that left leg anymore. That's fine, okay? If you want to bring your hands down to the floor for that deeper stretch, you absolutely can. Okay, I'm going to keep them on the frame today as I feel some good support there. And then I'm going to walk my hands all the way back towards the foot bar. Woo, and they're getting shaky now, those inner thighs. Okay, we're going to walk the hands out towards the rear, opening up to that center split. Woo, finding that nice support right there, holding at your full range of motion wherever you're at. Hold and breathe. 4, 3, last 2. Let's walk those hands all the way back in. Legs stay straight as we pull the carriage back in with those inner thighs. Woo, and we're going to stand all the way up. Okay, left foot. We're going to turn and face the box. Left foot is going to stay on the carriage. My right toes are on the platform. Hands to the box. Okay, and we're going to start with 2 straight legs. Legs are lined up with my hips. Okay, hips are level. We're going to take that left knee into a bent position for that rear-facing lunge. Left kneecap tracking with big toe, second toe. My knee is in front of my ankle but behind my toes. That box kind of keeps us honest there. I'm opening up my right hip. So I'm actively sending that right hip down towards the springs. Okay, and then when I come in, I'm pulling up to 2 straight legs. My right heel gets to dip down past the platform edge. So I get a nice calf stretch and more dorsiflexion through that ankle. Lift the right heel up and send yourself back to that lunge. Deeply bending that left knee, opening up that right hip. Whew. Pulling back up to 2 straight legs, sending that right heel down for that little heel dip. Big calf stretch. Good. Heel picks back up, coming back to that lunge. Hold right there. Pull it all the way back up. Now our next one is going to be a hold in each movement. All right, so we're going to come into that lunge. Pick up that right heel, come into that lunge, and we're going to hold our very best lunge, still sending that right hip down for the springs. Now, left hand stays on the box, but that right arm is going to reach up and overhead gently, okay, balance here, and gently look up at the ceiling or the edge where the wall meets the ceiling. Hold that there. We're opening up that right psoas muscle that runs all the way up to T6 through that thoracic spine. Hold it there for 4. Last 3 and 2. Bring that palm back to the box. Come all the way back up to 2 straight legs. And then we're going to let that right heel dip down past the platform. And we're going to hold it right there. Okay, I'm going to shift. There we go. Now, from here, we're going to micro bend the right knee and extend. Micro bend and extend. Now, you should feel a little shake right here, especially if you're really focusing on that micro bend. The bend through the right knee is smaller than you think. Make that bend like a 1/2 inch, and then really open up the back of your knee. That little shake, all that connective tissue is going to start to fire. We're here for 4. Ooh, last 3. Good, you've got 2. And last 1. And bring it all the way down to your knees on that carriage. Oh my goodness, my legs are trembling. That deep stretching, you're going to feel the body's going to get a little tired. You know, it's working hard to stretch. Okay, you're going to come down off of your machine now. So from here, we're going to do a floor stretch. But before we do that, I want you to take the box all the way off your carriage. Okay, you're not going to need it anymore. So just set that aside completely. We're going to stay. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to change our spring. So take off your extra light and add a heavy on. So no yellow spring. I have one red spring on my machine now. Okay, so if you're on another brand, it may still be a red. It might be 2 springs. Okay, and you'll be able to feel this in your body, what feels right. Now, we're going to do 2 different kinds of stretches here, but we're going to start with the right foot flat on the floor and left foot up against the shoulder block, knee down on the carriage. Now, if your carriage is a lot lower, I have a pretty high reformer. If your carriage is lower, your knee might not be down yet, but it will get there, okay? Hands are going to come to the foot bar, and from here, we're going to find that nice deep lunge again. Right knee is going to bend this time, okay? And we're going to lay that left quad, the top of the left thigh, down on the carriage. I'm pressing away from my foot bar. My chest is tilted forward. I've still got my right knee tracking with big toe, second toe, and in front of my ankle. So I'm holding that alignment to protect the knee. I don't want to feel my knee here. Okay, I want to stretch that left hip open. Okay, and getting lots of mobility through the right side. Hold it right there. Now, we're going to come all the way back up to a straight right leg, letting the left knee come under the body. And my right toes are going to come to the yoga block, okay? Now, if you have in a leg row too, your foot bar is a little lower. And if your feet are long enough, you can get your feet on the foot bar edge rather than a yoga block. So it's your choice. But I've got a yoga block because my foot bar is all the way up here. And from here, I'm now going to keep my right leg straight. So I'm going to open up my left leg, letting that carriage float back. And my right leg is going to stay straight. And I'm going to get with that flexed foot position, I'm going to flex it even more than the yoga block. I'm going to get a nice big stretch through the hamstring and up into the glute. Hold it right there. Good. We're going to pull all the way back up again. Right foot is going to come flat to the floor now, and we're going to come back into that deep lunge, bending the right knee, laying that left quad or the top of the left thigh on the carriage, holding that right knee alignment. Breathing here a couple times. And then coming all the way back up. Same thing, toes to the yoga block. Finding that sincere flexed foot position so we can get into the hamstring. And then we're going to keep that right leg straight as we float that carriage back. If you have a tendency to hyperextend or lock out your joints, watch that right knee. Okay, we want it to be active so it's not locked out. We've got it soft so it's actively working here. I'm sending my right sits bone away from my right heel. So I've got lots of length on that right leg. Reach that right sits bone back away, actively and intentionally, so you feel that in the body. Bring it all the way back up. We're going to go one more time on both stretches. Right foot flat on the floor, finding that right knee bend, nice deep lunge, laying that quad down, opening up the left hip towards the springs. Hold and breathe. You've probably done this stretch a bunch of times on the reformer. This is nothing new. Okay, and then we're going to bring it all the way up and in. Okay, right toes to the yoga block or the edge of the foot bar, finding a flexed foot position. That's all that's doing. That yoga block is flexing our foot for us. Okay, we're going to keep that right leg straight, right knee active. It's not locked out. And we're going to reach that right sitting bone away from the right heel, that leg that's on the yoga block. Reach that leg long, active and intentional reaching from the sitting bone. Hold it there for 4 and 3. Last 2. And let's pull it all the way up and in. Whew, okay. From here, we're going to come into a, let's see. We're coming around to the front of the machine. I always forget a little bit. That's why I make my notes. Okay. We come all the way around to the front of the machine. Now, I'm going to start facing away from you. Okay. You're going to stand with your left hand on that foot bar if you can reach it. If it's a little bit low, don't worry about it yet. Okay. Left foot's going to stay on the floor, and that right foot is going to take a cross in front of the left. Both feet are flat on the floor, but I've got my right leg crossed over my left leg. From here, I'm going to take my right arm and I'm going to reach it up and over my ear, bicep reaching over the ear, and I'm going to actively pull on that foot bar. Okay, now from here, I want you to think about reaching your right waistline out away from the foot bar. Okay, so you're getting a C. You're making the shape of a C or backwards C on that right side. Little curve. Bicep is falling over the ear. Bring it all the way back. We're going to go one more time on that side. Big reach up and overhead. Lots of length out of the waistline. Ribs pick up out of the pelvis. Hold that and send that right hip away from the foot bar. Try not to twist. Keep your shoulders squared forward. You're here for 4. Last 3 and 2. Coming all the way back through center. We're going to take the other side right away. So you're going to come around, turn around. Right foot's going to stay flat on the floor. Right hand on the foot bar. Left foot's going to cross over the right. Both feet are flat. I'm going to take that left arm and I'm going to reach it. On an inhale, up and overhead. Bicep comes over the ear and I'm going to send my left waistline away from the foot bar. Okay, so making that C curve. Holding it right there. I love this stretch. This is one of my favorites. It just taking the pelvis or reaching the ribs out of the pelvis and finding that length out of the hip. I'm always tight there. It feels really good in my body. So hopefully you feel that too. Bring it all the way back down. We're going to go one more time. Okay, nice big inhale. Bringing that arm up and over, reaching that left waistline away from the foot bar. I'm actively pulling on the foot bar to give me some support as I reach my waist away. Hold it there for 4, for 3, last 2. Coming all the way back to center. Whew, okay, grab your yoga block, and we're coming on to the other side. Okay, we have not changed our springs, so we're still on that one red spring or that one heavy spring. Now, left foot's going to start flat on the floor. Right foot's going to come up against that shoulder block. Both hands on the foot bar, and we're going to start finding that deep lunge. Okay, so we're going to bend that left knee, send the carriage away. My right knee and my right quad lay down on the carriage. My leg stays in parallel though, so my toes shining down. My left knee cap tracks with big toe, second toe. I pull that belly button up and in so it's active. Hold that stretch there. And then we're going to pull that right knee back under the hip, straighten out that left leg, left toes to the yoga block. So now my foot is flexed. And I'm going to keep my left leg straight as I send that carriage back out, watching my left knee, making sure that I don't lock it out. I'm actively reaching my left sitting bone away from my left heel. So big stretch all down the back side of that left leg. And lots of length out of my waistline and my shoulders. Last 4, 3, 2. Let's pull all the way back up. Let's find that lunge. Okay, left foot flat to the floor, no yoga block. Okay, keeping that right knee down if you can reach the carriage already. Bending that left knee, laying the knee and the quad down. Opening up that right hip. Hold it there. Left knee tracks in front of my ankle. Watch that alignment there. Hold. Good. Pulling all the way back up. Left toes to the yoga block. Okay, finding that flexed foot position. Keeping that left leg straight. Actively opening up the legs like a pair of scissors. Okay, we're going to keep reaching that left sitting bone away from that left heel. Head is between the biceps. Hold it there. Coming all the way back up one more time on both of those stretches. Left foot to the floor. Right knee, or I'm bending my left knee. Right knee and quad lay down. Hold there. I'm pressing away from the foot bar. Hold that stretch right there. Whew. Can feel that. My hips are going to be nice and open after this. Good. Bring it all the way up and in. Now my left toes to the yoga block. Okay. Leg is straight. Foot is flexed. Open up those inner thighs again. Left knee stays active. We reach the left sitting bone away from the left heel. Hold, hold, hold for 4, for 3, for 2, and bring it all the way back up. Woo! All right. Legs in straps time, right? Yes. Okay. Before you lay down, add that extra light spring on. So you have a red and a yellow. Okay. We're going to lay all the way down. Again, if you don't have that extra light, you might want to work with one extra heavy, a green, or maybe just that one red. Okay, lie on down. Whew. Okay, we're gonna reach back and we're gonna grab those long loops and they're gonna come around the arches of my feet. Okay, so take a minute to get there. Make sure your headrest is down because we are gonna come into a short spine stretch. So at one point, not yet. Once you've got your feet hooked up in those straps, okay, we're gonna glue the tailbone. So my tailbone right here, okay, is gonna glue down to the carriage. Don't let that peel up. I want you to feel for your hip bones. Those ASIS bones are the pointy landmark at your hip. Make sure they're facing straight up towards the ceiling. Okay, now that means for me, my legs are not directly pointing up. They're a little bit more forward to keep the tailbone down and the pelvis neutral. This is my start. Okay, and this is where I want you to start and stay. So that's my start position. I'm going to really be conscious of my hips and my pelvis and to keep them in this position. Neutral spine, which means my low back is a tiny bit lifted from the carriage. I'm not mashing it into the carriage. So keeping that nice long length through the core. Okay, from here, enough talking. We're going to hinge those legs down to a 45-degree angle. Hold. And now we're going to open into a straddle, taking the legs as wide as you feel comfortable. So as wide as you can. Pause in your straddle. Let the weight of the straps, and you can even give them an extra pull if you want, weight of the straps open up the inner thighs. Okay, from here, you're going to circle those legs up and around, closing them at the top. Lengthening down to that 45-degree angle just above the foot bar, opening into that straddle, letting the weight of the springs open those inner thighs, and then we're going to bring it up and around, closing at the top. Might feel like a little bit of a shake right there. Now the whole time, I'm keeping my pelvis in that neutral position. Good. Pausing on that straddle, circling up and around, closing those inner thighs. Last time in this direction. Down, hinging to a 45. Opening those inner thighs, letting the weight of the springs open my legs. Closing all the way up at the top, neutral position. Okay, from here, we're going to open at the top now. So we're going to open those legs into a straddle. Okay, as wide as you feel comfortable. Give those ropes a little extra tug if you want. Okay, now from here, we're going to circle down and around. This is going to feel like more work. So if you're not able to take the legs as wide because there's too much strain on the inner thigh to bring the legs in, watch that. Okay, I don't want you to overly strain that muscle, that small muscle. Okay, open into your straddle as wide as you feel comfortable or as much as you can control, because when you circle down and around, you're going to feel more work here to pull those inner thighs together. Good. 2 more times. Coming up to that neutral position. Opening into that straddle as wide as you feel comfortable. Pausing right there. Circling down and around. You have no momentum, so that's why it's also extra work. Okay, and then bringing it up. Last time, opening into that straddle. Because we stop in this straddle and we pause, you're moving from this dead standstill. It's a lot on the muscle to close those legs. And bring it all the way back up to neutral. Now stay right here. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together. My knees are going to open up into a bent position. And I'm going to pull on the straps to bring my heels close to my pelvis. So deep butterfly stretch. Now, from here, my right elbow and my left elbow are going to come to the inside of my knees, and I'm going to gently press the knees wide. All right, heels close to the pelvis, soles of the feet together. This is a butterfly stretch. We're holding it right here. I know we love when we open up the hips, right? That's going to come next. All right, just hold this to start. Lots of length through the waistline. So I want you to, if you're up here and you're feeling crunched through the front of the body, I want you to open up the front of the body. Find space between your navel and your pubic bone, okay? That's going to keep those hips in a neutral position. We don't want to roll back into a posterior tilt. Hold it there for 4 and 3. Last 2. Right from here. Keep your left leg exactly how it is. Your right leg is going to come out to the side for a little bow and arrow stretcher. That's what I call it. It might have another name. If it does, I don't know what it is. I like to call it a bow and arrow. So left heel is close to the pelvis. My left elbow is still opening my left inner thigh gently. Okay, and I've got my right inner thigh shining up towards the ceiling. I'm not letting my left hip peel off the carriage. It stays down. Okay, it stays down, feeling a deep stretch through both inner thighs. My right foot is flexed a whole bunch. Good. Hold it for 4 and 3. You can gently pull on that right strap to bring your toes closer to your ear. Last 2. Let's fold that right heel back in. Okay, and now keeping that leg close, my left leg is going to open up into that bow and arrow stretch, not letting my right hip peel off the carriage. I'm still finding length on the waistline and the front of the body. Whew, holding it there. Both inner thighs stretch. My left foot is flexed a lot. Hold that there. Hold, hold, hold for 4. Breathe. Last 3. Last 2. Let's fold that left knee back in. Both soles of the feet come back together. Now I'm going to release my straps as I let my feet dip down into the well. So I'm opening the front of my hips. My inner thighs are still shining up towards the ceiling, so my legs are in external rotation. The straps are just hanging out over my inner thighs, okay, and watching my pelvis, making sure it's not rolling forward, which if you notice, if it rolls forward, see what happens to my low back? It shortens and it becomes a rainbow. That is not what we want because now my ribs are splayed open. I want to close my ribs, stack my ribs over my pelvis, keep the pelvis in a neutral position where those ASIS bones shine up. Let those arms gently hang off the sides of the carriage, opening up the chest. And breathe. Good. One more big breath. Exhale all that air out. Good. Now from here, we're going to bring those legs into a closed position. Come on in. We're going to take one strap off. My right strap is going to come off and I'm going to hang it up, okay, on that little peg. My left leg is going to lengthen all the way out. It's going to feel a little heavy to start, but it'll feel good when we're in the stretch. My right ankle is going to cross over my left thigh. And now I'm going to bend my left knee so my left thigh gets closer to my chest and I find a nice figure 4 stretch through that right leg. Arms are long by my side. Pelvis is still neutral. And I can actually take your right hand and press gently on that right knee to intensify that stretch. But you should feel a big stretch through that right glute and hip. 4, 3, left shin is parallel to the floor. Last 2. Now, before we take off the left strap, you're going to uncross the right, okay? You're going to get that right strap back and put it on the foot. Now we can unhook the left, okay? Set that up on the peg. Lengthen that right leg all the way out to a straight leg. Find that neutral pelvis. Cross that left ankle over the right thigh, and let's bend that right knee for a nice figure 4. My left palm gently opening up my left inner thigh. Right shin parallel to the floor. That right knee falls over the hip because I'm finding lots of length on my waist still. Hold that right there for 4. Last 3. Last 2. Good. Now we're going to unhook that left leg. Grab your strap back. So both feet in a strap. Okay, long loops. Last thing, if with feet in straps, arms are going to be long by your side. This is where your headrest must be down. We're going to allow the weight of the straps to pick the tailbone up off the carriage. I'm going to roll and articulate onto the top of my shoulders. And once I've hit my full range of motion, I'm going to bend my knees, keeping my legs together. And I'm going to articulate from behind the heart and roll that spine, one vertebrae at a time, back to the carriage, letting the tailbone find a connection, finding my neutral pelvis, sending my heels out towards the foot bar and going again, picking those legs up, letting the weight of the straps pull my legs up and over, holding that right there, bending the knees towards my forehead, and then from behind the heart, rolling one vertebrae at a time back down to the carriage, lengthening out those heels, and sending those legs back up. 2 more just like that. Bringing the legs up in a closed parallel position. Sending that tailbone up towards the sky. Okay, bending the knees at the top. Finding control here. Now, you're not so weighted that the straps are going to do all the work. You need to help with those arms connected to the carriage a little bit. I didn't want to weight you so heavily that it whipped your legs up there, because that can be dangerous. Okay, so I wanted you to have some control over this movement, taking it nice and slow. Your full range of motion's different from everybody. Bend those knees, and then rolling down active through the spine, connecting the tailbone, and then sending those legs all the way out. Whew. Okay, bending those knees. Let's take those straps off. Okay, just a couple stretches without your straps, and we are all done. All right, so feet are going to come onto the platform just off the hips. My legs are trembling here, so I don't know about yours, but mine are a little shaky. My right leg is going to lace under my left bent knee, and I'm going to lay the outside of my right foot on the carriage. So my right inner thigh is shining up towards the ceiling. I'm opening up that front right hip. Left leg is just bent, okay? And if you want, you can take your left hand and pull on that right foot, bringing your right heel a little closer to the left glute. Hold that right there. Good. Watching the arc in your low back, making sure it stays neutral. Last 4, 3, last 2. We're going to release that foot, release that side, bring it back to a bent knee position. Now the left leg goes. We're going to bend that left knee, lace the leg under the right knee, left inner thigh shining up towards the ceiling. I'm going to grab onto my foot. You don't have to if you feel enough of a stretch without grabbing onto the foot. You don't need to do that. Okay, that's going to intensify that bend a little bit more. Again, got to watch my spine. So pulling on that foot can over arc the low back. So I want you to make sure that you're still keeping those ribs closed and the core is active. We're here for 4, last 3, last 2. Release that foot, both feet back to the platform. Now, you're going to take your heels to the inside of that platform, and you're just going to lengthen both legs all the way out. My right leg, we're going to take that right foot off the platform, bend the right knee, and I'm going to pick up my right hip and send that right knee over to the left. Right arm is going to reach out to the right. I'm going to look at those fingers and find that nice spinal twist. My left hand is pressing my right knee down towards the floor, just intensifying that twist a little bit. Hold it there for 4, last 3, and 2. Rolling that right hip back to the carriage, switching the legs. So the right heel is going to come to the edge of the platform, holding it nice and steady. Left knee is going to bend. We're going to pick up the left hip, take the left knee over to the right side. Left fingers are going to reach out towards the left side of the machine, and I'm going to look at my left fingers as my right hand gently presses my left knee closer to the floor. Hold your twist for 4, last 3, last 2. Good. Coming all the way back to that left hip connected to the carriage. We're going to bend both legs. Last and final thing, let's take those legs over the foot bar. Just let those ankles, the back of those ankles, hang out over your foot bar. Let your arms hang off the sides of the carriage. Close your eyes. And I want you right here to take a nice big inhale, inhaling the confidence that you did something amazing for your body today. You let your body reset, recharge. You lengthened out those muscles. You took a minute to reset. And I want you to exhale all that strength and that power and that gratitude that your body is able to move like this and that you set yourself up for one killer week. Nice job, you guys. All right. Hopefully, I see you again soon for another tough workout. Okay. If you reset and you re-lengthen those muscles out and you feel good, I feel great. I hope you feel great. I want to hear your comments because I haven't posted a workout like this. So I would love to know what you think. If there were things that you felt like you didn't get a stretch on that you really could have used a stretch, let me know. Positive, negative, I like them all. It helps me grow and it helps me give you better videos as well. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. Please subscribe to the channel every time a new video is put up, which I do about 1 a week. you will get notification of that as well. I do a couple live workouts on YouTube a month, and I like to announce those through the YouTube channel as well. So if you subscribe, you'll get that announcement. I also have a live Zoom group that I work with, and everybody and anyone is welcome. If you own a reformer or you have access to a reformer, right now the class is being held every Friday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, so that's the way it's been for a couple months now. It is always open to new classes or changing of times, but right now that is the time that's set. If you'd like to participate, please send me a message. You can send me an email through my website, or you can write me a message underneath this video, and I will get back to you with more information. The group is intimate, and if you want a chance to work a little more closely and dig a little deeper into that connection with your core and your own body and learn a little bit more about yourself, this is a great way to do that. I love working closely with people, so it's a nice chance to do that since we haven't been able to be together in a while. And that's it, guys. All right, nice job. I hope you feel fantastic, and I'll see you next time.